important that you pay particular attention to the announcements we have to make this evening. Very, very important that we do so. But as always, and before we go any further, we must hand over our proceedings to the Most High. But before I do so, I must always say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to some of you. This is a very special broadcast, and of course, we must pray. And prayer we must this very evening and always going forward. And I will pray in the language of heaven because Chukwukika is in control of all that we have been doing and will continue to do until Biafra is restored and all the suffering indigenous populations in the damnable zoological republic are set free. Chineke na nke pụrụ ihe niile Chukwukika bụ onye na-ekwuwe n'aja aha nsọ ya mma mgbe niile. Onye ọ bụ naanị ya na-achị eluigwe n'ụwa na-agba akaebe ịhụnanya gị na ebere gị amara gị n'ọmịiko gị ebe ndị gị na-eze ebere ngọzi. Anyị wee na-etoghị agbanyeghị atụmatụ ọjọọ niile nke ndị iro. Iwe enye anyị ndụ ala gị ndụ n'ụbọchị nke taa. Anyị wee na-asị na ịja mma niile otu niile dịrị aha nsọ gị. Onye ọ bụ naanị ya ka ike niile na ọ gbadara aka ya. Anyị wee na-akpọku gị na-asị gị na nke ọma anyị ga-ekele gị nke ọjọọ ma anyị kelee gị. Anyị wee na-aja gị mma wee na-etoghị wee na-asọpụrụ gị n'isi ụmụ gị niile bụ ndị ikwu ndị wee ezi okwu mgbe a kpọrọ ha ka ha wee chekwaa ala nsọ gị bụ Biafra onye nwe na Chineke na ihe ikwuru anyị nkwa na o mekataghị ka ndị iro wee were ala nsọ Biafra onye nwe na Chineke na nke bi n'igwe agbanyeghị atụmatụ ọjọọ niile nke ndị iro ma ndị na-agba mgbọ ebe niile dị iche iche onye nwe na Chineke nna ihe egwu nke ndị dị etu a n'ụbọchị nke taa anyị wee na-etoghị wee na-asị onye nwe anyị na Chineke nna nke pụrụ ihe niile onye ọ bụla anyị a na-azọpụta onye ọ bụ naanị ya bụ okwu ya niile bụ ihe na amen. Anyị wee na-asị ezi ebube dị ngọzi na ụtụtụ na ịja mma na nsọpụrụ site n'ebighị ebi ma ruo n'ebighị ebi. Ise 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 ise. As I said this very evening, we are going to announce our preparedness to defend the land of Biafra. And having waited for very many years for the governors in our land, the entire East, by which I mean the Southeast and the South-South, to do what their counterparts in Yoruba land did, and even what the terrorists in Yetiala also managed to do, which they have failed to do up until this very day, we have decided to take it upon ourselves to defend the land of Biafra. We are determined and we are resolute, and we are not going to stop until we eradicate every trace of Fulani terrorism, every trace of hegemonic Janjaweedism in our midst. Until that happens, we are not going to waver, we are not going to retreat, not 1 inch, not 1 iota. We have come that we may do the bidding of the Most High for that which we were sent, or should I say born, in the first place. We are going to defend our land against the ravages of Fulani terrorism. We are going to defend the lives of our people against state-sponsored extrajudicial killings by the zoo and forces. We can't allow what happened in Obi, in Aba, in our Faruku, in Emene to happen anymore. It can no longer happen in our land. Today, we are sending a note of warning, or should I say caution, to all those that delight in shedding the blood of Biafrans and innocent people right across the length and breadth of this zoological republic called Nigeria. That from this day onwards, any attempt to kill innocent people will be kindly reciprocated. Any attempt by the zoo army or the police to kill innocent populations, the same way they did in Obi, will be met in equal measure. Therefore, it has fallen upon this very generation to defend our land against the excesses and ravages of Fulani terrorism, and the hegemonic tendencies of the Sokoto Caliphate.
Oh God. Sorry for that. You already know where we are going. You already understand why I started with the prayer. And I urge you, as I welcome you, please endeavor to welcome one another by your like and your sharing. That is how you are welcoming all Biafrans to join this program this evening. So based on that, I sincerely want you to pay attention on things we have to do this wonderful evening that need our attention for us to know. When you look at where we are this time around, is beyond emotion. Is beyond who you like and who you dislike. But is based on only on the level of international. We have been on the riots of local for all these years. We have protested, we have agitated with the name Ipob organization. Like Mazan cannot be mentioned here. This name has cost us life in Emene, in Obibo, Oji River, in Mpo, Iguosha. All this massacre that has happened in the name of organization called Ipob. The one thing that on today's program that we may do something that you know very well. If you have a look at our program today, under international law of statehood in waiting, Ipob, ignorance, emotion is illegality. USBG is legal. The only way we can restore Biafra is through this legal means. And it's only one person that really understands this legal means of achieving Biafra as a country by changing that one thing that we have been doing from time memorial. The one thing that we have been doing for complete past 14 years, and what is that thing? That is protest, agitation. I did not say that every other country does not do agitation. But when I do something, I give you where you can go and verify it. That is when I push you, I show you where you will fall. When I give you an example, I would give the example from Africa country. The example from Africa country is Namibia. Namibia protested for 3 years. Protests on the streets of South Africa that they want to exit from. They protest, they done their protest for maximum 3 years. After the 3 years of their protest, they transition into full government in exile structure. Remark the word. They transition fully into structure of government in exile. And the only government in exile is what is legal in the eyes of the international community. And all the law, all the existing protocol, all the Geneva Convention, both 1947, Protocol 1, 1977, that still govern to this modern day world. The same thing with Montevideo Convention of 1933 that still govern till today. The same thing with the UN Charter that are the one that still govern till today. The same thing with the Vienna Convention that are still governing till today. All this law on those that we are calling for them to answer us, all of them based on legal, not on illegality. Sorry, 1 minute. They based on legal. And without you standing on legal, they will not answer you. But when you stand on illegality, they can ignore you, even though you are being paid in millions. They will not talk. The question is, why are they not talking? They are not talking because of one, the ignorance from you, not knowing about legal, is why they keep you quiet. The emotion does not trigger them to do anything under organization, but emotion triggers them to do something. When it's come to legal, when you are on the legal side and you are facing those torture from the Nigerian government, now when you are on this legal side and they see the mass murder or the killing of the indigenous people in a large number, then the emotion goes with legal. The emotion is not going with illegality. I want to understand something. Now, based on that, when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is the leader of this movement that has transitioned in government in exile, when he sees Simon Ekpa openly, and he asked, I told him, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, Onyendu, if there is nothing on this table, I will bring something to this table. And really, with IPOB organization, nothing is on the table. Because protest, agitation, under structure of command and control of IPOB is ignorance of the law, which is not an excuse. And this emotion is not an excuse. You see, this emotion of anti-IPOB on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not a way to have Biafra as a country. That is why when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu see that man who has something, he said that what this man wants to bring on the table is a new dimension. The new dimension starts with introducing government in exile that are being backed up with the UN Charter, with Montevideo Convention, with Geneva Convention, with Vienna Convention, and all the existing protocol. This is why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, this man called Simon Ekpa has come with a new dimension. The new dimension starts with protest that is not legal, and is choosing a government in exile that is legal. Through a government in exile, to prove 100% legal or to prove 50% legal, you must issue the declaration. Immediately you issue the declaration, you have got to the percent of 80% of legal. Once you achieve recognition, you have achieved 100% legal. Why that everything we are doing under any name of organization is what? 1, ignorance. 2, emotion that leads to the ignorance, that leads to the illegality. These are one thing that we never understand. That is the problem. Remember that interview between Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa Njoku. Among IPOB members, none of them has discussed or mentioned in all their broadcasts that there is something they called Montevideo Convention. And the only first person Mazi Nnamdi Kanu had from his mouth about the Montevideo Convention is only Simon Ekpa Njoku. After the interview, they have a meeting. From that meeting, Obato Obie break it down and they remind him about the government in exile he mentioned. That the government in exile is what I'm going to bring on the table. Also, bring the map of Biafra on the table so nobody will question you again. Where is the map of Biafra? What is your territory? Those one has been buried. You remember when this territory and map, the territory, the road of Biafra, is a challenge to everyone that comes across Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to oppose him. And what happened? Obato Obie killed off, buried. What is your roadmap? Where is your territory? Today, what we are getting today is that they did not include us in this threat, or they did not inform us before they closed in the territory. No longer there is no territory again. Now there is a territory. Who is bringing it? The man with the new dimension. And without government in exile, that issue of official declaration, there is no territory. Because government in exile is a separate government in the eyes of international law, which we handled in the afternoon. Now, organization with protest and agitation is being classified as what? As an internal problem of one Nigeria list in the IPOB with their ignorance and emotion. That is not an excuse in the eyes of the law. Many Biafrans that have been buried today, they have been buried under the ignorance of IPOB organization with their fake emotion. And in the history of the world, no government or no country, no state has used emotion to grant recognition to organization. Rather, they will use emotion to grant recognition to the government in exile that issued declaration or redeclaration of a lost country. Hope you are following. This is how it happens. Now, when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu find out that Simon Ekpa Njoku is the man who has what he's looking for, that the 100 men he was asking in IPOB could not be able to give to him, he now changes and tells them, you must follow Simon Ekpa. That Simon has come to bring a new dimension. Achalugo did not bring a new dimension. Ikenga Uruagu did not bring a new dimension. Chinasa Nworu has no new dimension. Chike Doziem has no new dimension. Then Imam Mezu has no new dimension. Imam Powerless has no new dimension. And they never thought about the government in exile. That Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, a time will come when we will form government in exile. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, knowing that Biafra will only come when we form government in exile. And he said, I am not going to tell these Okokos, these betrayers, how we will form this government. That is only him know the time to form government. And I sincerely believe in the spiritual realm or physical, that the spirit of Master and Carl encountered together. And Robert Obi agree that the time to form the government in exile as the first criteria of the new dimension. I don't know whether I am making common sense to you. I don't know if what I'm saying is you are connecting to the dot and it's making common sense, that I'm making common sense. So the only best thing that could have happened to only IPOB is a man with a new dimension. The new dimension comes with Montevideo Convention 1. It comes with Geneva Convention 2. It comes with Vienna Convention. It comes with a UN Charter. These are what the new dimension is coming from. It's coming with. Now, coming with that to be established, it is going to establish this new dimension on a government in exile that will issue a peaceful redeclaration of the Republic of Biafra into the continuity of United States of Biafra. This is the new dimension. The new dimension give us what? USB. The USB of the rising, the land of the rising sun, from the land of the rising sun. So these people called IPOB, this is a country. Nobody, no country has used emotion to achieve their country, both now and in the past. Go and check. So, without wasting much of your time, we are going to dive into the program fully. And as we are diving into the program, I will do some cracking of joke with the meaning of ignorance of the IPOB. And with that word, ignorance, I want you to hear how an English word addresses a word, ignorance. And under the name of the leadership of IPOB ignorance, many Biafrans was being pied. Many are still in prison. If care no take, maximum number of over 5,000 of Biafrans are in the prison, more than that in the Nigeria territory. So this illegality of IPOB and their ignorance and emotion that is why. And the frustration, all these people in IPOB, in a country where they are, there is a lot of frustration. Those that do not have paper, those that do not have a job, those they are illegal work they are doing, and the only thing they can raise their hand to become legal, the thing that is can bring them in time of legal is what? Is the name of Biafra as a country. So this is their illegality, and this is their emotion. Hell that they are using is go nowhere. And under the international law, when emotion is from organization, they will not do anything. Because organization like IPOB is not a separate government from Nigerian government. It's under internal. Why a government in exile with redeclaration is external government on separate that is not under Nigerian government, not under anybody. They are a government of their own. And the motion goes to a government in exile that issue a peaceful declaration. I want to bring you back to something. I want any IPOB member to tell us why did Mazen Khan having IPOB and still tell them that a time will come when we are going to form government in exile. Because Mazen Khan is understand that IPOB organization, when he go to UN, they will tell him, go and be doing something. Are you getting what I'm saying? Like I said, now, for Master to do something, or one of his parents said, a time will come when we form government in exile. Now the question is, what is the work of government in exile? None of IPOB member know. When even Master comment that on that program, that broadcast about government in exile, honestly, I did not think anything about it. I never think about government in exile and the meaning of going in exile until Simon Eber emerged. And for me, I even started getting to know what is government in exile after he was arrested. And after USD declared, is when I go deep to understand what is the value of government in exile. Does it even exist at all? I started with YouTube, playing a video on when I was answering the name Chino TV. If you follow me from then, I started playing on video, holding the phone on my hand and be showing on the other one. When how they said you must form organization first for people to come together. From there, you transition government in exile to prove illegal that you are a separate government. With that government in exile, you are not separate. All you do is what they call remedial secession internal. When you have government in exile, you are doing what they call external remedial secession. External. It's no longer internal. So when Mazen Kanu see this man who is coming with multi-video convention, who understand the road to achieve Biafra second, he said, you must follow him. You must follow him. You have to share the program accordingly. Not just format. He said he is coming with what? A new dimension. Mazen can understand that IPOB's old dimension of illegality. IPOB is a old dimension of what? Illegality. But let us school ourselves in details of what it means when I talk about government in exile. And so when I talk about ignorance, that is not excuse in the eyes of the law. So when it's come to this movement, the ignorance of IPOB, when it's come to the statehood in waiting, that is a country in what I have told you, anywhere you see breathing what? Statehood means a nation holding for recognition. The word, the UN and all the international community use what? Statehood, state, instead of a nation or a country. That is how they use their own words. That's why their own language is not our language. Until you met the standard and drive towards their level, then you will start using the word the way they are using it. So we want to go and remind ourselves again before I go into the program. I will play it, I will analyze it about what is the full meaning of ignorance that in the IPOB is using today. And I was part of them. Or the Simon Neighbor now brought me out from this ignorance of the IPOB. This their ignorance and the emotion could not allow them. And they think it's an excuse that they use to organize Biafra. No. It's only through government in exile is legal. That is not that are not under ignorance of a world international about having Biafra as a country. Please, I urge you to like and share as you join us, please. Like I said I am going to play what? I'm going to go with the word ignorance. So listen as I play this. This now will take you to the program.
The phrase ignorant of law refers to a person being unaware, misinformed, or lacking knowledge about the existence, meaning, or scope of a specific legal rule or statute. In the legal world, this concept is almost always paired with one of the oldest and most rigid foundational principles of jurisprudence: ignorantia juris non excusat. Ignorance of the law excuses no one.
Are you hearing
Here
it?
is a breakdown of what this means in practice, how it applies under law, and the rare exceptions where it actually matters. 1. The core meaning, the presumption of knowledge. Under both domestic, municipal, and international legal frameworks, the moment a law is formally passed and published by a governing authority, Every individual subject to that jurisdiction is legally presumed to know it. No free pass. If a person breaks a law, they cannot successfully defend themselves in court by simply saying, "I didn't know that was illegal," or "I am an outsider and don't know your rules." Intent versus knowledge. The law looks at your intent to commit the act, not your knowledge of the penal code. For example, if you transport a restricted item across a border, the court only cares that you intended to carry the package, not whether you knew the specific custom law forbidding it. 2. Why the legal system enforces this rule. If courts allowed ignorance as a valid legal defense, the entire justice and administrative system would collapse. It is enforced due to 3 main reasons: preventing strategic ignorance. If not knowing the law were a valid excuse, citizens would have a massive incentive never to learn the laws. Criminals could shield themselves from punishment simply by avoiding legal education.
I want you to remind you what place. Because of their ignorance, they refuse to learn the law. It's not an excuse. Because of ignorance, they refuse to learn history and learn the law. It's an excuse. So all this charade of IPOB and in the BGC, in the automobile mechanical government in exile, Ogenkeri, and so now, and then the Abakrawa. All this Bryce no comma, Shomo comma, this is the ignorance they are putting when it comes to the law of how Biafra will be a country. It can never be an excuse. No. And if IPOB is and glorying this law of a statehood, there are difference. See, the law to have Biafra as a country is not being taught by any lawyer in the school. So this criminal IPOB using ignorance to do that, they don't know the law of having a country. The law of having a new nation or of getting an old one back, they don't teach it in school. No barrister, no professor. They don't teach them about UN Charter. They don't teach them about Montevideo Convention. It's only when you prepare yourself to fight for a nation, you have to know this law. So when you talk about Aloy Ejimako, he don't know nothing about it. This is different from what the school is teaching. It's different from being a professor. It's different from being a lawyer. It's different from whatever you may claim. Bryce no come and show all these people. See, this issue of having a country is totally different school on their own. It's another different level. It's another different level. It's another different school entirely. That is why the Biafran people claim they are fighting for Biafra without. That is why we have been doing one thing from time of Owazurike down to Mazen and the Kano until Obato Obie. And Obato Obie, was until he registered Biafra government in exile, Brigi, transition was into government in exile. That is when we have changed from doing one thing for over a decade and move into another new different thing with another different level. That is only how Biafra will become a nation. So when you see all these lawyers, I am telling you, this issue of freedom of fighting to have a new nation is quite different from what they taught us in school. This is school we have to undergo. That is why many countries, after have formed government in exile, they open school just to use. Namibia use 6 years to educate to school their people in school for what is called government in exile and why they need it. They start from there, forming school, those who can speak, and they start with what first? Namibia started with what? Montevideo Convention. From there, they taught their people within the 30 years of before the national recognition. They taught them how to engage with the UN charters, Vienna Convention, Geneva Convention. This is why they open school to lecture their people that this is a different thing altogether. The same thing happened to Bangladesh. They open school in abroad, in India. They open school in India, open in UK. What the school is for? The school is not to just normal education. It's about the movement that they are into. That the movement is about having a well-structured school where we teach our people, remove them the ideology of the Pakistan from people of Bangladesh, remove them the ideology of South Africa, put them into the ideology of the international community, how they can achieve Namibia as a country. That is why even Tanzania open school, Angola open school, Namibia or Algeria open school. They open schools in abroad, bring different people to sponsor their people, what they're teaching their people. The subject is UN, Montevideo Convention, Geneva Convention, Vienna Convention. They start opening town hall meeting and inviting their people, their lecturers that on their own, those who try to do it. They start open town hall meeting, gather their people together, and they will invite through online everywhere. Teach those people, if they cannot be able to travel to that particular country to have the town hall meeting with them, they will listen. They will read it and we play it to them. They will look at this is a UN Charter, Article 2 in bracket 4 says this. They will teach the people. This is how all of them, that is why those who believe in government continue doing more, because they have seen that this government in exile is legal, that the process of Namibia in 3 years is illegality and ignorance of the law. The people being paid because of ignorance.
Objective certainty. It creates a stable, predictable society. The state can enforce public order, collect taxes.
Are you hearing it? When you prove, like what USB is proving now, look at how it's connecting. It will put a government structure on a tight right level, right doing, under the legal. That is what USB now is proving, that they are not ignorance of the law. And they are not using emotion. That is why there is thing that is hungry us for the government to do. That is emotion. They say that that's a well-structured government that proving that they are not ignorance, that will have people to pay tax, have people to do this, that they are doing what? That they are standing on the legal path. They are not ignorance of the law. It can never be an excuse because of this ignorance of the law. That is why Biafrans are being paid under agitation and the world will do nothing. Do you see why we must stand on USB? USB, are they acting ignorance? The answer is no. They are acting on a legal path. They are not acting on illegality. Ipob organization, after USB declared, is illegality.
And regulate commerce because the rules apply universally to everyone, regardless of their personal awareness. The duty of inquiry. The law places the burden on the individual. If you enter a new country, start a business, or engage in an activity, international and local laws dictate that you have a proactive duty to inquire about the regulations governing your actions.
Are you hearing it?
The rare exceptions to the rule. While the rule is nearly absolute, modern legal systems recognize a few narrow exceptions, where a lack of legal knowledge can mitigate or dismiss a charge. Laws that have not been made public. If a government or an occupying authority passes a law but fails to publish it, or keeps it hidden from the public, a person cannot be punished for violating it. Under international human rights law, a law must be accessible and foreseeable. B. Specific intent crimes, mens rea. Some highly complex laws, like intricate tax codes or technical regulatory violations, require the prosecution to prove that the defendant willfully and intentionally broke a known legal duty. In these rare corporate or financial contexts, proving a genuine, good faith misunderstanding of a highly obscure regulation can sometimes negate the criminal intent required for conviction. C. Reliance on official but wrong advice. If a citizen actively seeks guidance from the specific government agency responsible for enforcing a law, receives a formal written statement saying an action is legal, and relies on that official advice, only to be arrested later because the advice was wrong, and may be protected by a defense known as entrapment by estoppel or official misinformation. Summary. Being ignorant of law means you do not know a rule exists. However, under the global standard of justice, ignorance provides no shield against liability. The law assumes you know the rules the moment they are written.
Honestly, Ipob organization is liability to us. IPOB under international law, under ignorance, IPOB is a pure liability to us. Honestly. I said, I'm not going to explain this because it's well explained. You understand it. There is advice you will give someone. That advice is illegal. If the person follow that advice, they said that they will later arrest the person under legal. When you travel to any country where you are today, you obey their legal. You are not proving the illegality of or emotion or ignorance that I don't know these people or they will arrest you. That is what's happening. I'm going to leave it here as we dive into the program. I hope you understand it clearly. And I hope you can see it. I will play this for you again. Why IPOB ignorance that they used to kill Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, put him in prison, is not an excuse in the eyes of the law at all. So let us listen.
The reason these two types of leaders are treated so differently comes down to one core concept in legal science: international legal personality. Under public international law, courts can only apply global treaties and international frameworks if the entity involved has achieved a recognized status beyond being a domestic group. 1. Why protest and agitation leaders are judged by local laws. When a leader commands an organization that limits its activities to local protests, rallies, and civil agitation, international courts and foreign governments view the situation through the lens of domestic jurisdiction. The principle of state sovereignty. A cornerstone of the modern world is Article 2.7 of the United Nations Charter, which strictly prohibits the UN and foreign states from intervening in matters that are essentially within the domestic jurisdiction of any state.
Now, I want to say something for here. Now, under this Section 2, Article 7, that prohibits any country to interfere into internal matter of IPOB. Now, without IPOB knowing this law, they are acting on ignorance. The ignorance leads into liability. The liability is why Biafrans are being paid under the ignorance of IPOB organization. Mpo massacre. Ignorance. Mpo massacre could be where I could have ended up my life. In Mpo massacre, I was there. My two friends, left and right, they fall. No one make it alive. The other guy, about here, no police release here. Opota. Under age they go child. IPOB, MNM massacre, ignorance is why people are dying. The ignorance of IPOB under UCMF4. People, if you know what's happened under UCMF4, oh God, oh my God. Under the order of UCMF4, Biafrans are being massacred. Emena. In Ihiala or Data, on a Remembrance of a Hero Day, massacre happened in Ihiala, local government. Then, that wasn't enough. The massacre in Iguacha, you know about it 2 days a week, under IPOB 4. The massacre in Ekusigo, under IPOB. The massacre of our people on the protest arrested in Abia State, under IPOB 6. All these things is because of ignorance. That is why we lost all these men. When the only way to save the life is by peaceful disobedience, it at home is lesser, very fair to what we passed through. Why when I was on ground, there is no protest I did not attend. Na Biafra na protest one day, it declared na Biafra broke a nation. Because of this, on a day holding Donald Trump flag, blood of Biafrans, fall on who? On that flag. America could not sanction Nigeria. Do you know why? Because the law prohibits them to enter by force on internal matter of organization that protest agitation, that during protest and agitation, it happens, and we all witness it. You see why the world have never done anything to Nigeria, because of IPOB organization is acting under ignorance, and illegality leads to liability.
Sovereign status. An agitation or protest group, no matter how large or peaceful, is legally classified as a domestic civil association or a non-state actor.
Are you hearing
Because
it?
it does not claim or structurally operate as a separate government, it operates under the host country's legal system. The criminal law trap. When a government arrests a protest leader, they do not charge them with fighting for freedom. Instead, they use their municipal penal code to charge them with domestic felonies, such as treason, unlawful assembly, incitement, or breaching public order. Under international law, a sovereign country has the absolute right to enforce its own criminal laws within its borders. 2. Why a government in exile and redeclaration shifts to international law. When an organization formally transitions into a government in exile, GIE, and issues a peaceful redeclaration of sovereignty, it completely changes its legal DNA. It stops acting like a domestic pressure group and starts acting like a state, asserting independent statehood. By forming a GIE, the movement actively invokes the 1933 Montevideo Convention, Article 3, which states that a country's legal existence is independent of whether other countries recognize it. The GE asserts that it is the de jure, rightful, legal authority over a territory, and that the arresting government is merely a de facto, temporary, physical, occupying force. Transforming an internal matter into an international dispute, a local court can only judge its own citizens. But when a recognized GIE claims that the arrested leader is their head of state, prime minister, or a high-ranking diplomat, the legal argument changes. International lawyers can argue that a domestic court has zero jurisdiction to put a foreign sovereign official on trial, activating international humanitarian law. By issuing a formal, peaceful redeclaration, the GIE frames the situation not as a domestic riot, but as a self-determination conflict protected under Article 1.4 of Geneva Protocol 1. This framework covers peoples fighting against alien occupation or colonial domination. Under this international treaty, an arrested leader can be classified as a political prisoner of war or a captive state representative, removing them from the jurisdiction of local felony courts. Direct legal comparison. Feature: protest and agitation leader, government in exile leader, primary legal arena, municipal, domestic, penal code, public international law and treaties, core UN framework. Article 2(7), non-interference in internal affairs. Article 1, 2, and 55, right to self-determination. Legal classification: citizen/domestic dissident, sovereign representative/prisoner of war. The government's role: legitimate state prosecuting a local lawbreaker, accused occupying power, holding a political hostage. The takeaway: a protest group fights within the system to change it, leaving its leader vulnerable to that system's local laws. A government in exile creates a competing system under international law, giving its leader a legal shield that local courts cannot easily penetrate without violating global treaties.
I hope you are listening. You see, this ignorance of IPOB that they used to help Nigeria to sentence Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is what we must put on them. And if anything happened to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, anybody claim he's IPOB member, we pay for it. The government of USB as recognition, anybody who claim or those who we know to do champion IPOB will be in prison. If anything happened to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You see why they use the law against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You see how Abatobi is going to be free. Because the government in exile, that he accepted he's the prime minister of Biafra government in exile that issue a redeclaration of our lost country. And see how the law set him free. And see how the law attacked Mazi Nnamdi Kanu because of the IPOB. I just want to play it for you. We have done that program today in the afternoon for almost 3 hours. So if you want to hear it more, go to the program of after this one, you can check on that, and then you understand. Honestly, this ignorance of under international law of a statehood in waiting, a country in waiting, IPOB, ignorance, emotion is illegality. USB is legal. USB is what? Legal. Ebano. Please, as you join us, I want you to hit the like button, or anytime you're going to watch, please endeavor to hit the like button. So let me bring you down to today's program. Why I use this? Why I use this particular headline on this today's program, or to all this organization. So now I will play the audio, then we will analyze it quickly. After that, we put the link. Anyone who wants to comment can comment. Listen.
In international relations and public international law, the specific scenario where an organization transitions into a government in exile, GIE, issues a peaceful redeclaration, secures international recognition, ECO-AIN, and uses that newly achieved legal status to compel a foreign government to release its arrested leader operates under strict legal frameworks. This strategy works by using specific principles of international law to turn a domestic prison sentence into an international diplomatic standoff, ultimately securing the leader's release. 1. The operational strategy, how the organization forced the release. When a leader is arrested and faces life imprisonment under a state's domestic laws, the arresting government labels them a common criminal or insurgent. The organization counters this by completely shifting the legal arena from domestic law to public international law. Step 1. The transition to a GE. The organization establishes a formal administrative structure outside the home territory, in a sympathetic host nation. They assign a strict continuity of authority, often led by a designated official like a chief of staff, to prove that the movement has an organized, functioning bureaucratic command. Step 2. The peaceful redeclaration. The GIE issues a formal legal instrument redeclaring sovereignty. By explicitly anchoring this declaration to a peaceful mandate, they strip the arresting government of the ability to label them a terrorist organization or a security threat. This makes it legally safe for foreign nations to host and interact with them. Step 3. Achieving international recognition. The GIE actively lobbies foreign governments and international bodies, like the UN. Once a foreign state formally recognizes the GIE as the true de jure rightful legal government of that territory, the legal status of the imprisoned leader undergoes an immediate radical transformation. 2. The legal mechanisms, why the leader had to be released. Once international recognition is achieved by the government in exile, the arresting state loses its absolute legal authority over the prisoner. Legal teams use several specific articles of international law to force the leader's release. A. The Montevideo Convention, 1933. Article 3. Under the declarative theory of statehood outlined in Article 3 of the Montevideo Convention, a state's political existence is independent of recognition by other states. The moment the GIE demonstrates, it satisfies the core criteria of statehood: a permanent population, a defined territory, and a government capable of international relations, and issues its redeclaration, it asserts its sovereign independence. The leverage. With international recognition from external allies, the GIE successfully frames the arresting state not as a legitimate local authority exercising domestic law, but as an illegal occupying power holding a foreign official. B. The UN Charter, Article 1-2 and Article 55. These articles enshrine the fundamental international principle of the equal rights and self-determination of peoples. By issuing a peaceful redeclaration, the GIE aligns itself perfectly with the UN Charter. International bodies can then formally view the arresting government's actions, specifically the life imprisonment of the leader, as a direct, unlawful violation of a charter-protected human right, applying immense diplomatic and economic pressure. See Geneva Conventions, 1949, and Additional Protocol 1, 1977, Article 1-4. This is the most critical tool for a leader's physical release. Article 1-4 of Protocol 1 explicitly extends international armed conflict protections to situations where peoples are fighting against colonial domination, alien occupation, or racist regimes in the exercise of their right to self-determination. The real-world impact. Once the GIE is recognized internationally as fighting an alien or colonial occupation, the leader can no longer be legally processed under local criminal codes. International law elevates their status to a political prisoner or a captive head of state/government. Under international humanitarian law, Continuing to hold a recognized foreign leader in a local felony prison becomes a severe violation, forcing the arresting government to negotiate a diplomatic release or face massive global sanctions and isolation. 3. The ultimate outcome. By combining an organized government in exile with a peaceful redeclaration, the movement successfully elevates the leader from a domestic inmate to a sovereign hostage. The arresting government is forced to realize that the life sentence has failed to crush the movement. Instead, it has created an internationally recognized state apparatus that is draining the arresting government's diplomatic and economic capital. To avoid international courts, trade restrictions, and global condemnation, the arresting government is ultimately forced to utilize a back-channel diplomatic exit, releasing the leader under the weight of international law.
You see why I put the headline today? Ipob, under international law, there is law for statehood. This law that will give us Biafra is not being teaching in school. No. This law is meant for us that are seeking to have Biafra as a country, that our leaders are being arrested and being kidnapped. We are the one to implement and introduce and teach it to ourselves to know this is the right way. That is why there is no emotion. It's all about legal. On that reason, let's quickly rush to the comment section, please. We have many Biafrans. I have put out many comments here already. Please, I will start today's. We have Priest Biafran Son as #1 person who started today's program with me. He said, hashtag, you know, this hashtag is my good morning, it's my good afternoon, it's my good evening, it's bro, it's Mazli Biafra TV, we are doing well. Once you write it, I know that you know that I'm doing, that you are telling me that I'm doing well. That is it. Hashtag, I am a citizen of the United States of Biafra Nation, USB. Thank you. He also said here again, USB government has come to stay forever and ever. He say amen. And he also said, US government has come to stay forever. Yes, USB is our nation. Whether I like it or not, Ghana transformer. USB nation is only hope. Biafra is only hope for true government. Thank God we are now more part. We are no more part of Nigeria. Yes, I am not. I am not. I am not part of Nigeria at all. And he also said here, oh, Chris Biafra, Nigeria, hashtag Nigeria must go. Completing the mission is what he did here. So we are going to run this quickly. Please, Biafran Son, Nigeria, leave Biafra land now. They must they must surely leave. They cannot stop us. Not in a million, not in trillion years to come. They will never, because we're on the right track. I see you, Flora Kubilo. I see your support. You are I would say that your super chat to me. Thank you so much. Through that way you did it. That is only the way. Thank God this page is not monetized because of USB, because of this particular YouTube that refused me, and I don't care. What I care, I let the message go out. That is why I ask Biafrans, the only thing you can do to support me is to touch the like button. Thank you for that wonderful super chat. Thank you so much. Hashtag I am a citizen of the United States of Biafra. Hashtag Nigeria must go from Biafra land. They must. The time is coming. Oh, gift. Okay, very long time. Brother, where have you been? Hope you are good. I can see. I greet you, Mazi. We are not reading that. We have food, I see you. We are not reading that. We read what? Nigeria must leave Biafra. Hashtag Nigeria must leave Biafra land. That is the one that pleases me to read. And this one said, he also said here, hashtag I am a citizen of the United States of Biafra. Thank you. That is the protocol. And he also said here, please, Biafrans, as you join, kindly hit the like button. Thank you for doing that. Thank you so much, Gifts, for reminding Biafrans. Odegwenugu is here. And this founding father, this forefather of you, he signed in his son of Finland that Biafra should be a nation. So whenever you see Odegwenugu, give him the word founding father, a forefather for that matter. Yes, here he said, Marcino, good evening. Thank you for the great job for Biafrans and greetings to all Genu Biafrans here. Thank you, Flora. Thank you so much. The best thing for the best thing for this Ipob or Gara, the best thing for them is to accept and come back to their country. That is only the best thing. I see our beautiful mommy, because of age, and is no for Kenya. I get clear go message. Good afternoon, Shino, and all the new Biafrans. We thank you from here. Thank you. Flora said the best thing for the IPOB organization is to join USBG. That is the best thing. There's no two ways about that. I understand what you mean. Ignorance is not an excuse, whether like it or not. Too. And they also said here, Mommy Ojugo said, that is true. People will always use ignorance as an excuse to commit crime in the IPOB. That's what they are doing. Then, good bad boy. This year, you are here today. Thanks so much. Breaking. It has been exposed that they claim USB ambassador or office in Washington, D.C. is not exist. After some visits to the building and confirmed from the management for building busted. You are a big fool. You are a moron. Now, it's people like that we are talking about them here. And on that reason, this year, I don't know that I never know that's who you are. Now I know. Let me put you to where you belong. You'll be coming here before. Yes, I see you, my brother. Linus, all the way from Biafra land. Thank you so much. Hashtag, I am a citizen of the United States of Biafra, USB. Hashtag, Nigeria must go out of Biafra land because Biafra is now a nation. God bless you, USB. Thank you. Jokoko, have a comment here. We put the comment where the comment belongs. He busted his grandfather, his grandmother, and all entire family. Don't worry about him. We know how to do. Yes, he also said here, Linus said, good evening, my brother. Thank you so much. And Mommy Dorin said, we stand our ground for USB. Thank you. Ushena, my brother. Thank you so much. Hashtag, I am a citizen of the United States of Biafra. Also said here again, Nigeria must go out of Biafra land because Biafra is now a nation. Thank you for that. He also said here, Mazishinon, so good evening, sir. Good evening, sir, my brother too. I greet you and I salute you. I tap from your grace, always from all the homeland, subscribing and watching us. Thank you so much. Mommy Doreen said, Biafrans, rule of law. Biafrans, rule of law of Biafra is very important to know. Yes, the rule, how we achieve this, and the rule of law is very important. Like my brother said, thank you for good work, Mazishino. Thank you, my brother, all the way from homeland. Asatina is here. He said, USB government is the only way out. Yes, thank you for that. That is the only way out. USB. No USB, no Biafra. That is the truth. Yes, so my brother, thank you for that. He also said here, oh, USB for life. That is me. I stand with my country for life. Wow, thank God for everything. We are moving speedily. He said, yes, sir. Here we have our brother Florence. Wow. Florence. Let's use that one alone. Hashtag, I am a citizen of United States of Biafra, USB. Hashtag, Nigeria must go out of Biafra land. Thank you so much for that. Quick one. We have gift here. Gift to Sarah Satin. I greet you. Where have you been? He's there doing things we're supposed to be. And one of our fathers said, Oluchiwa God said, hashtag, I am a citizen of United States of Biafra. Hashtag, Nigeria must go. I see you. Oh, go best all the way from Biafran territory. Yes. Good evening. My brother, stand on the protocol. You are welcome. I can see your comment. This is the last one we have here. So on that reason, we have transitioned into the program. We have done what? With all of you. Welcome all of you. We are now transition into what? Into today's program fully. Why IPOB ignorance can never be an excuse. No company in this world have used emotion or organization or we don't know this is how to achieve Biafra now. Okay, recognize us after we go and maintain the law. No country has used to achieve their own country. So on that reason, let's play it again.
In international relations and public international law, the specific scenario where an organization transitions into a government in exile, GIE, issues a peaceful redeclaration, secures international recognition, ECO aim, and uses that newly achieved legal status to compel a foreign government to release its arrested leader operates under strict legal frameworks.
Are you listening? There is a law. There is criteria. It's not about the ignorance. No. It's not an excuse. Emotion does not count. What counts is this legal aspect is what counts under international law. The legal aspect is what counts. How many that has been paid is not counting. How many has been paid in Biafra land is not being counting. What is counting is legal, is what they are using. So the ignorance of protest and agitation can never make the world to come and say, take Biafra now. We have not organized you in the name of the Republic of Biafra. It does not work. The legal must take its course. And through the legal, we will achieve it. And we will achieve it right now through USB redeclare. The only government in exile you have, no other one. Any other one is counterfeit. And here, in international relation and the public international law, remark that word, in international relations and the public international law, the specific scenario where an organization transition into a government in exile, GIE, issue a peaceful redeclaration and use that newly achieved legal status of a foreign government to release its arrested leader, operate under strategic legal framework. Under what? The legal framework. Under what? Legal framework. And I want you to be keeping this point or counting it at all time. What is that? Whenever the world wants to prove to you the government in exile that this law covers up and the one they're talking about, or the one the law is with, they will always use the word. See, let me read this place for you again. Government in exile, in bracket, GIE, that issue a peaceful redeclaration. What is that government in exile? The one. There is a disclaimer, and there is difference between a government in exile that did not issue declaration. That one is quite different. It's just like organization. But you see the one, you see the USB that issue official declaration is on a legal framework. Why IPOB organization with their ignorance and emotion that is not an excuse in the eyes of the law are illegality? There is no frame legal work. Why a government in exile that issue official redeclaration goes what? With a frame legal, with legal framework. Remark that word. This strategy works by using specific principle of international law to turn a domestic prisoner sentence into an international diplomatic standoff, ultimately securing the leader's release. A government in exile, precisely. What? A government in exile, precisely. Let me tell you, somebody today might be in youth government, doesn't understand this law. Those that are deviating do not understand what it means to achieve Biafra as a country. Their thought is how we think, how we feel, what we want, and what we don't want. No. We must always want what international approve from us through their legal framework. To be on the legal path, not to be on illegality, not to be on ignorance of law that is not an excuse. And ignorance leads to people are being paid. Ignorance in what language? Ebo onye isi na-edu onye isi fa abanye n'ime ọbụ. The number one, the operational strategies, how to organization forces the release of a leader through forming government in exile. Through what? Forming government was in exile. When a leader is arrested and face life imprisonment under a state domestic law, the arresting government label them common criminal or insurgency. The organization country, this by complete shifting the legal anchor from domestic law to public international law by forming a government in exile and issue a peaceful declaration. This is only way the case of Martin and the can be turned to international law. Tomorrow they will say, oh, a court of arbitrary court of UN has other matters to release. Did they release him? No. And do they have force to do that? No. Do they have legal backup to do that? It's a mere talk that holds no ground. Is what I call it. What arbitrary court of UN is doing is what? Freedom of speech. Because there is a roadblock. The roadblock is holding them is UN Charter, Article 2 in brackets 7 and 4. In brackets, prohibits anybody to interfere into internal matter of existing states. No matter how you see it, under UN, they see Nigeria as what? As an existing state. They see Nigeria as what? As an existing state. So all this noise from arbitrary UN or this and that, British or anywhere, is just freedom of what? Speech. The law prohibits any country to come to release Nnamdi Kanu. Now, what is the strategy to release him? There is a strategy to remove his case from the local court of Nigeria to be a public international law. I leave it there somehow. To Obatobie, his case is under public international law. That is why they cannot renew him to the Nigerian government. Because of what? It's international. Because of what? He is a prime minister of a government in exile that issue official, peaceful redeclaration of the country he's fighting to restore. Now, what is the step to release this leader under the local law, or what will transform his case under the international law, public law of international law? What will do that? Listen to number one step. Now, step one, the transition to GIE, the transition to government in exile first. The organization establishing a formal administrative structure outside the host territory is in a sympathetic host nation. This assigns a strict continuity of authority, often led by the designated official like chief of staff. Like what? Chief of staff. No, to prove that the movement has an organized, functioning command from a government in exile structured that issue a peaceful redeclaration. Under Brigi, you are Imam Maduabu, you are Bryce Nokoma, electing Ogen Kerie, there is no backup legal. There's no backup. There is no framework that proves that when a leader is being arrested, I have to let another person. What do they say? They said here that is to prove that this organization or this government in exile understand the criteria of the modern day law, that they to transition into a government in exile. In a government in exile, that leader was arrested, he falls under the law on the shoulder of the chief of staff to pilot the affair, to prove a well-structured command control of a government in exile. This is the step one, to release the leader. Are you listening? I hope you are following. That is why every country that use organization, once the transition went in exile, they open school to teach their people the criteria, the law, how they will achieve their country, not to be acting on ignorance of the law. I hope you are connecting the dots, and I don't know whether you know that we are making common sense under international law. Because I am doing this to put it to every layman understanding, to put it the way I understand. So I don't know whether you are capturing what I'm saying. I don't know. I want to know if what I'm saying, you are capturing it. Or you understand what I'm saying. Because if you don't understand it, there's no need in being here. That means I have to read it on my own, skip it on myself. But I want to share with you so we all will understand the criteria, what we need to know at this stage. Honestly, I said I'm waiting for comments to know if we are making common sense or the message is good. Because when you are dishing out information and nobody's understanding, don't need to dish out information. So far, Madam Oju, so far, Mommy said that we are following and understanding you. I'm good to go. Thank you, ma. In the fallback brigade and in the BGC, in the CRC, now fight our DPM, the chief of staff. I want to read here back again. Listen, know. Okay, let me play the audio. So listen from the audio first. Kiwe got ebe ihe na-ezuzugharị nara ahịa na-agba na onwekwa ebe ọ dị na onwekwa ebe ọ na-eme eme. Listen.
In international relations and public international law, the specific scenario where an organization transitions into a government in exile, GIE, issues a peaceful redeclaration, secures international recognition, AIN, and uses that newly achieved legal status to compel a foreign government to release its arrested leader operates under strict legal frameworks. This strategy works by using specific principles of international law to turn a domestic prison sentence into an international diplomatic standoff, ultimately securing the leader's release. 1. The operational strategy, how the organization forced the release. When a leader is arrested and faces life imprisonment under a state's domestic laws, the arresting government labels them a common criminal or insurgent. The organization counters this by completely shifting the legal arena from domestic law to public international law. Step 1. The transition to a GE. The organization establishes a formal administrative structure outside the home territory, in a sympathetic host nation. They assign a strict continuity of authority, often led by a designated official like a chief of staff, to prove that the movement has an organized, functioning bureaucratic command. Step 2.
I hope you understand English clearly. You see why is the DPM, the chief of staff, is the only one, proving that this is a continuity from where the arrest leader stopped. And you don't need to bring any new leader. You don't need to put anybody. That the chief of staff automatically is that the leadership or the movement is on the shoulder of the chief of staff. Wallowing on your ignorance of who you like and who you love, that is local and illegality, is going to buy you, because for us, we have moved on with the legal part of it. Go and hug transformer. That you don't like COS. The law bring chief of staff. And why the Zimos is going to be name of chief of staff, not name of DOS, is what? Is a modern day law. When we are going into the protocol of one of the modern day law, you will see it clearly. The modern day law start existing in the continuity of the old one from 2001 of the 21st century. This is how this law goes. And look at it, like I said, Mommy Ojugo, do they teach all this one in school? Is it in a curriculum that law they teach in school? The law they teach in school is quite different from the law of having a country. That is why we have to do it by ourselves. That is why I'm trying to do it. This is not by you are a professor. That way man can say that all these intellectuals, this is what we can hide from them about freedom. The freedom of the world from the Jesus Christ to 12 apostles, what God will give them to do is different from the what every other person was doing, except the 12 apostles alone has the message of coming of Christ. So what I'm doing today is not by Ijakwukwo. It's just by paying attention, listen and think, and trying to make a difference from whatever I was being told under Ipob is why I burst into this. And because of I want and I pray so that I need a wisdom to understand what it takes to have Biafra as a country. As I am moving, the road is opening. As I am researching from, I started research from YouTube. If you followed me when I was answering Shino TV, you will understand what I'm saying. That time I was using my phone to show you. They will show is how other countries gather together, form organization. They will show you how they transition, coming to Nezza, and it's not for Simon. But I don't think we remember that Mazakan even said that a time will come we will government in exile, and I am here. The government in exile has been formed, and government in exile has their job. Their job and what makes them legal is what? That word, peaceful redeclaration. That is what makes them legal. I hope you are connecting to the dots. Do you see how law to release my Simon Epa? They did a good job. And now, can you believe with our DPMOs when she said that to release Simon Epa is in, that he is the one to release them as the chief of staff? Obatobie come with the new dimension, with the new structure of the international law. A man with swag of law. He come with what? With the international law. That is the new dimension, coming with international law of the New Testament, where all of you read and hope for miracle, because you know in the Old Testament there is no miracle. On international, under this, Obatobie bring a new dimension, bring something on the table. The first thing is to bring a legal part of this movement. The legal. And under this, I will also read step 1 where I stop again. It says, step 1, to transition to a government in exile, the organization established a formal administrative structure outside the home territory in sympathetic host nation. They assume a strict continuity of authority, often led by designated official like chief of staff. This is international law. We are under what? This is under the Montevideo Convention. This is under Geneva Convention. This is under Vienna Convention. They don't teach Montevideo Convention in university. They don't teach this one in Geneva Convention. No. The Vienna Convention. No. Montevideo Convention. No. UN Charter. No lecturer can lecture that one alone. Those who will lecture it is those who are fighting for a new nation, like you and I. We are only the one that has this law. And the school will be school by us. And the school is what? Legal. Do you see those now one goes under the modern day law brought her? And the modern day law, I'm talking to you, start from 2001. It's going to go to 2100. A long way to go. We are in 2026, and we're talking about 100 years. That is how they count it. And this law said to prove the continuity where the leader stopped, to proving that it is the same structure that's used, that organization that the leader being formed is the one that transition into government in exile. That is why he formed what? Government in exile, and the proving that the only person who has right to command and control is who? Chief of staff. Wallowing on your ignorance and your emotion can never be an excuse, even in the eyes of international law and also in the eyes of Biafran constitution. I get me protest because there will be no forgiveness. I refer in Biafra land, we will protest for you to implement Ghana law. Court of no mercy, court of no appeal. That law will be implemented, that constitution of law of Ghana will be implemented into this USB if there is no more serious to hold all this in the ignorance criminals called Ipob and you know now, you know the name of Oge government. The name of Oge government is what? Automobile Mechanic Government in Exile. Sona Akwarawa is a phone repairer. That is automobile. Ogenkere is a mechanic in Baltimore. So that is why we check the name to give them. Then the name is Automobile Mechanic Government in Exile of Ogenkere and Sona Akwarawa. That is the name of their government. Those ones, they are wallowing on the ignorance, not an excuse. Now, we have told you step one. The step one fall from where? The step one is what? One is to form government in exile that chief of staff will control on behalf of the arresting leader who is in prison. Step two, the peaceful declaration. The GIE issued a formal legal instrument, redeclaration of a sovereignty. What? The redeclaration of a lost sovereignty is the job of the step two, to prove that you are looking for a country, not from being organization. Let's continue. By anchoring this redeclaration to a peaceful mandate, by anchoring this peaceful declaration into a peaceful mandate, today, the movement of USB is not peaceful. Are you not fighting that why you are not supporting is because they are not lacking water? You don't know that any day USB lack water, there is a law against USB that will deny us Biafra forever and ever. You know that, or you don't know? And why can't you go on your own name? They knack water by yourself. We are doing one thing under water under ESN or Mazanakan is in prison. Maz Simon, but before they now remove that one from his own case, the water. And the IPOB is doing protest agitation. Instead of you to go and join the protest, now you're not sure water. That is why you're not coming to fundraising. Ego now. And all that the message choose Rugi. You get what? Because the message wants you to cry Hadina at last. That is why you are in a tail, in a show to what. And it was so much. Oh, thank you for Roman. You are wallowing, swallowing on ignorance. You think it's an excuse. I don't know the law. You will know the law by force. But not that when you are in prison, you will know the law. Why in that country where you are? Why are you not committing crime there? Don't you know that after a peaceful declaration, if you knock that is ignorance of the law? You don't know that? That is what the government we have is what? Look at the headline again. Under international law of statehood. I told you states under international law is their language. Instead of call it a nation, they call it a state. statehood in waiting. IPOB, ignorance, emotion is illegality. USB is legal. Take it or you love it. You are not the one that putting this law. And you can't eat your cake and have it. And you can't be a judge over your case. Don't you know that? You cannot be a judge over your case. That is where we are. You can't write your exam and mark your exam and give yourself scores. That is one that all of you that are wallowing on this ignorance of IPOB, BG, PUK, CROC, automobile government in Nigeria, and all of you. Sorry, the law will catch you. Let's continue. Arresting government. They strip the arresting government of the ability to label them a terrorist organization. You cannot label USBg declare the terrorist organization. How can't you hear it here? Let me go fully on it. Step 2, the peaceful declaration from the GIE issued a formal legal instrumental redeclaration sovereignty by anchoring this declaration to a peaceful mandate. They strip the arresting government, Finland and Nigeria, of the ability to label them a terrorist organization leader or a security threat. This makes it legally safe for foreign nations to host and interact with USB declared because of what? The World Peaceful Declaration, which is external remedial secession. I hope you are following. Step 3, achieving international recognition after a peaceful declaration. The GIE actually, if they like, they can lobby from the government and international bodies like the UN. That is, we have to lobby, not the congressmen in Washington, D.C. It's after Somaliland was being recognized by Israel December 25, 2025. It's now that Somaliland has started lobbying UN to be a member. Why African countries, all of them bypass them? Even Somaliland, they bypass Washington, D.C. and congressmen to achieve recognition first from their fellow African counterpart, because recognition under the international law is being given state-to-state authority under the Constitution or under the Article 7 in brackets 8, 9, 10 of the Geneva Convention / UN Charter. Not even on the new modern protocol, on the old and the new. State is the one to decide grant recognition. Example, when you see on that video, when Netanyahu is recognizing Somaliland, did he say, I am recognizing you because of the lobby called me to recognize you, or because of the congressmen? Oko. That is why you don't learn a lesson. And that is why they said that ignorance of learning from history is what leads to the ignorance of the law. Nigeria is not a law country, it's a lawless country. Nigeria is a lawless country. 2, they remove history. 3, you are a black man, they hide everything from us. And you are wallowing, dance of the shame of ignorance, claiming you are fighting for Biafra under IPOB, under automobile mechanic government in exile. Okay, Elias. And they're winning the BGs and the PUK, then because they hold no ground. Why the only government in exile that issue a peaceful declaration is the one that will changes the leader status. They will know. That is why Abato will be told that was God that they have removed terrorist charge in Abato Obi's case. Look at it here. Look at it here under this law. Abato Obi's case is under international, but Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is under local Nigeria because of the IPOB. On Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the spirit of Biafra enters him to do what? To abolish IPOB organization. to distance himself and denounce IPOB. Then, but as so far so good, USB is including him in everything as the leader. Onye chi na-azọkwa onwe. There is no smoke without fire. Let's play the audio. We come back again. Let's play the audio quickly.
In international relations and public international law, the specific scenario where an organization transitions into a government in exile, GIE, issues a peaceful redeclaration, secures international recognition.
Hey, sorry, my hand touched it small.
AIN, and uses that newly achieved legal status to compel a foreign government to release its arrested leader, operates under strict legal frameworks. This strategy works by using specific principles of international law to turn a domestic prison sentence into an international diplomatic standoff, ultimately securing the leader's release. 1. The operational strategy, how the organization forced the release. When a leader is arrested and faces life imprisonment under a state's domestic laws, the arresting government labels them a common criminal or insurgent. The organization counters this by completely shifting the legal arena from domestic law to public international law. Step 1. The transition to a GE. The organization establishes a formal administrative structure outside the home territory, in a sympathetic host nation. They assign a strict continuity of authority, often led by a designated official like a chief of staff, to prove that the movement has an organized, functioning bureaucratic command. Step 2.
Do you hear that word, bureaucratic command? We are proving that this is a well-structured government in the continuity at back of the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa Njoko. Read the clear of USB in the continuity of the old Republic of Biafra.
2. The peaceful redeclaration. The GIE issues a formal legal instrument redeclaring sovereignty. By explicitly anchoring this declaration to a peaceful mandate, they strip the arresting government of the ability to label them a terrorist organization or a security threat. This makes it legally safe for foreign nations to host and interact with them. Step 3. Achieving international recognition. The GIE actively lobbies foreign governments and international bodies, like the UN. Once a foreign state formally recognizes the GIE as the true de jure rightful legal government of that territory, the legal status of the imprisoned leader undergoes an immediate radical transformation. 2.
I hope you had it clearly. Now, do you see 3 steps for Umokoko? Number 1 is transition into government in exile. Number 2 is to issue the declaration. Number 3 is what? Seeking for achieving international recognition from other countries out of the world. You see how these 3 steps work together. 1, you will issue a redeclaration of a sovereign nation. Number 1, you will transition to government in exile. Number 2, you will issue a redeclaration or declaration. Number 3 is to achieve what? International recognition. Without transition, without declaration or redeclare, there is no recognition of a lost country. Is it clear to you? Follow the 3 steps. Please, in case you want to join us, you are free to join because the program will be closed. Maybe it is 2 hours. That is why I put the link. This particular session is too long, so I might break it into 2. Because I'm planning to do that because I see not something I will finish because of my time here. So I urge you, if you want to make a comment or you have anything in your mind to say, please use the link to enter. You can do that. You see, until Biafrans understand the message we are passing, you see what the world want us to do. You see why all these years that Biafra is not a country. Now, do you see why we are a country now? They said that what we redeclare is what? We redeclared what? A nation. Yes, precious, divine precious. Why, my good evening from here. Please, you can have the mic. Thank you.
Even though I'm not with them, I said, let me just try. I hope they will allow me.
We will manage them. How can I we will manage them?
Yes. Otegaka. So I just, I'm going to can say Dalo for the good work. Imana, I greet you all, Biafrans, ndị nọ na comment section. Ndị niile na-ege ntị ma ndị nọ out na-ege ihe anyị na-eme. You know, the stage I know now, a stage of our leader Mazina they can say that there are people who are that are born for this freedom, for this liberation, over everybody. Stage I know now. You don't need anybody to prophesy for you that many people they confuse. Even in the self for some that you least expected, you see them misbehaving. More like somehow. You cannot just and then before you know it, you see those people they will just fall out. Before you know it, you just see them fall out. So open him at the reality, the truth. Stand by that truth, even if it is only you. Because even the handle like in my body called this, knowing fully well that we are fighting with demons. Either from Nigeria side or even from our PM side from abroad. If you know what similar, just the different now we're local and international. Man, the same evil, or should I call it tactics. But even though now I say abroad now, na haka they go the discipline. Manan ma the same demon kind of handle, the same demon kind of fight. Because from the beginning, if how they connive with this fallback here now, they can also because I'm nature some people or they confused between here and her children. I feel like all these now they protest on the bridge in the lead on the Anyana about war with anybody, Anyana drag war with anybody. Onye man and will na need na. If you should say the truth, give the email we pour from us. Even though you check here now, even during the time of our PM, even in Bosu, Nigeria, I bet I say, me, I call ya, individual can not just that call it, and we law. Even in the question, they are not putting out because how manner. Now the real people, if you do it, then that thing that they don't want will finally come. But they go to catch about one and keep answer. Those people that refuse to accept the truth, they are not at peace with themselves. That's why only USB not peace. Anybody proud of it, they need their lives. They are not at peace because you refuse to accept that fact. Tomorrow let me just keep it's better to stay aside than to begin to speak against that you know that is the truth just because of the gravity of confusion here and there. You didn't confused. If you are confused, I will advise you to just leave, especially this internet, because you can never forget. Ask him tomorrow, open a week at something, at something. Man, again whether that thing got because before people accepted this our PM, I know how he fought to kneel before they let kita no I can about this USB because this woman you got fool because he hijack and man losing. So even
because
if it is
now lose one
finally you will know that a case made the truth. I thank God for the wisdom on our DPM. Even if are confused over the never this lawsuit I got na this August or yes or bridge or where is the government name man if you can see watch everything the same thing mere oge nke nna anyị. Ọkwa ofu ndị a na-akwụchigharị ụzọ na ha na-eme na were ha na-eme. Let us see how it ends. If they can bring our PM out, thank them. Thank God they did well.
No.
Bravo to them.
No, they are not coming out because of them. Their P-court is not. It's not. Nobody will bring Obatobi out, and even their P-court are now one year again. That's one that he's not talking about Biafra, about Master again. They are no longer talking about him in anything at all. So on the case na have the BGC and the CRC and why I'm also doing this exposition and doing this evening with this law for you to know now all these things they are just making noise. That's my happiness is that when you go to all this law, they just give it exactly on the line and wagon. A government in exile that issue a peaceful declaration. The 3 steps is for only that government, not for organization. So all that is why I said our people wallowing on ignorance of the law think they are doing the right thing is not an excuse. And nobody will be treated. The law says when I play it here, the ignorance, how the world using it, they said they will not allow you when you committed a crime because of you don't know the law. And when somebody even advises you committed a crime, that the law will hold you and arrest you. So all this, their shenanigan and their charade is ending very soon. Many of them that are doing this today, they are doing it claiming that they do not know. They know. But because of the stomach and the fornugeku, that is why they are doing that. And that is why today's program, I said, I use IPOB on it because the IPOB, their ignorance is top notch. You cannot, there is no we can do about them. So on the BGs and the CRC and the automobile government in exile, all these their claims and ignorance it can never be. It's not. They know what they are doing, and there is no excuse on the ignorance of when you are, you know, this was supposed to refuse to know it. The world keep us mute on this because for us to allow us to be wallowing on ignorance, that is why nobody is coming. So going to Finland, all these people has nothing to do with Obatobi. Nobody decide what happened there. It is only the court decide what happened and they honor the international law. And Obatobi has already made it open to us that the case of terrorism has been removed from his case. It don't finish with that though. It's not because of India and Finland around. And those who are on the backside of the movement. And they man why the good ones last at what they are doing. So I don't call all these people. What I call them is what? People under ignorance of law that's not an excuse, but the law will surely deal with them in the due time. So nobody will take glory, or the glory of Obatobi goes to you as we declare, because in the 3-step, one, transition government in exile. Number 2, when the form government in exile, the one in exile that issued the election must lead by chief of staff when the leader was arrested, and as they have already declared that the next thing is to achieve recognition. So whatever they are doing today, this glory goes to USB, not to any organization. What I want you to know.
Thank you, my brother. Even this Bryson, the key of the lawyer game, so on that isn't matter because now USB we only have present to like no na medicine going to go and defend or you go name because I got a on that area of but I didn't bother because I'm not during the time of Mazi our PM. Now the similar thing, man. I about every IP now about every day. Work when you hand and I had the serious to give mayor case we could get email. I just now we are winning. Even good, yeah, just need take time and act till okay, jail is there for life. Thank God now KPM, God forbid, we believe that this time is coming out. Whether my actually my heart because now even I okay.
Yeah, because Obatobi is quite different under international law, and that is why he's still in Finland. Though, if not for international law, Obatobi could not be in Finland, and he's not going to be alive by now. What keeps him alive is see this US we declared is the legal way and the under international. That is where we are. There's no other way.
Thank you, my brother. Because if we look all this government. Ama m na mgbe our PM na around. O nwerezi onye ma na ndị IPOB all this bridge. Ihe ọbụla a na-ekuzi o nwerezi onye ma na all until ha akpakwa our PM. So akpakwa our PM aka. So our DPM na ihe ọ ka jide ha ka o nwere na mana ọ ga-emechefu onye ọbụla n'anya mgbe everything ga-adị. I just pray now
when you are doing on a legal, the legal is paper and pen. It doesn't talk openly.
Imagine.
It's code secret. That is what USB is doing. And the USB is acting as a country, not as an organization or as an individual.
Yes.
The individual makes mouth. Why the legal does not make mouth? Do for the right time. The legal will manifest. That is where we are.
I will hold it here, man. I know anytime if you're online, there must be something. And the way they follow off, like I'm not giving a space. Now, na this your channel. Can I direct those people to come? Even though I'm now a man with thousands of people coming because I'm now teaching now, and I have patients there. But no matter ọbụ na ofu onye ka iji akasị na oke ọṅụ na-adị mgbe eluigwe nwere ofu onye njọ chegharịrị because now genuine people ka ebe anyị achọghị ebe akwụkwọ ụkpaka na-adị ekechi nwe anyị chọrọ nke ọ ga-abịa ijide aka ofu karịrị millions. That's why when we found our PM ọ sịghị na ya bụ 50 in that 100 ọ dị ya ka anyị na-achọ anyị achọghị nke anyị eje just like our DPM ofu onye ma na ekpokọtakwa ihe niile anụnwa they don't reach even that one. Oh yeah, and we have gotten one, and by God's grace, Nakia Koge end already end. No, the break celebrate is there finally. Thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm very happy to have you around. Thank you so much, Divine Precious. Thank you. I know you are busy because of one or two things. That is why anytime we see you, we allow the mic for you. Thank you so much. Thank you. We have our brother or our sister or one other. Yes, Freedom is sure. Please unmute and have the mic. Freedom is sure. Can you? We can't hear you. Freedom is sure. I cannot hear you. Unmute. You mute your mic now. Unmute so we can hear you. Unmute your mic. Freedom is free. Yes. So let's see if we can hear you. We can't hear you. Freedom is free. Freedom is sure. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Thank you, my brother.
Okay, you're coming out
I
now.
think you are
Thank you so much. Now, yes. Of my go on. I can hear you now.
Okay.
The network is coming and going. Shai, your voice is coming and going out. Shai.
By government, declare through your teaching. No dormanya, I am with a nacho. Each of my comment, wherever comment, when I said that we
Network is kicking him. It's from Obodo Bongo. Please, let's have patience because our brothers from the homeland they deserve some accolades, some respect, some endurance for them.
So
yes,
help follow this our government now.
Exactly.
Help follow our government now. Or carry dry more faster than Nahane with the IPOB. It is even the
network. When did you because from the homeland? Yes, you know that my mass, your network is coming and going, but I don't really
know. From homeland now, boy.
Yeah, well, sorry. Yes. Manage behind and manage you to and be from when did now homeland the address is where is you. The network is very bad. Please, for the message after the program, go to our WhatsApp group. I will also post all this, which I normally do. I post it there for those who want to listen to it. I post it there. Our brother network will not allow us to hear you very well. We understand that the zeal and the happy of you that you sound with USB. Thank you for that as we are moving. So, try network. The network can allow us to hear you. Your network. So on this note, I want to refresh your mind by playing.
Amara mi here network ne.
Network really very bad. Don't worry, Mazi. We understand. Maybe you go out, you come in again. The network will allow you. Why I continue? Like I said, I am not going to. I want to go with only this program with only session 1. You can see that this session 1 has already taken us maximum going to 2 hours. So by tomorrow, before the fundraising, we are going to rush quickly to finish this from session 2, which is the legal mechanism why the leader had to be released. Now, when you go into this legal mechanism, the first thing you will see there will shock you. Is where you are as a member of a citizen of USB. That is the first thing we find out. So I will play it again. If you want to join us, you are free. But before that, I have people on the comment section. I see our big brother here, Mazi Divinity. I see you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Nigeria, hashtag Nigeria must go. Biafra land is a lovingly sovereignty nation. Highly blessed. That is it. That is it. I also see you, Beauty. He said, hashtag, I am a citizen of Biafra. I am a United States of Biafra citizen, and the Nigeria must leave. Nigeria must go out of Biafra land. Machino, thank you. Thank you so much. And our mom said, forward the program always to that WhatsApp group where all group are. Thank you so much. I will do that for sure. Then I see you, Ekwem Justice, my man. Mazi, thank you so much for being here today. You said, hashtag, I am a citizen of the United States of Biafra. I see you, James. Wow, James Jockey has been very long. Where have you? I hope you are good, Mazi. Thank you for that. So listen as I play the audio again. Listen as I play it again. You will do final touching.
In international relations and public international law, the specific scenario where an organization transitions into a government in exile, GIE, issues a peaceful redeclaration, secures international recognition, AIM, and uses that newly achieved legal status to compel a foreign government to release its arrested leader operates under strict legal frameworks. This strategy works by using specific principles of international law to turn a domestic prison sentence into an international diplomatic standoff, ultimately securing the leader's release. 1. The operational strategy, how the organization forced the release. When a leader is arrested and faces life imprisonment under a state's domestic laws, the arresting government labels them a common criminal or insurgent. The organization counters this by completely shifting the legal arena from domestic law to public international law. Step 1. The transition to a GE. The organization establishes a formal administrative structure outside the home territory, in a sympathetic host nation. They assign a strict continuity of authority, often led by a designated official like a chief of staff, to prove that the movement has an organized, functioning bureaucratic command. Step 2. The peaceful redeclaration. The GIE issues a formal legal instrument redeclaring sovereignty. By explicitly anchoring this declaration to a peaceful mandate, they strip the arresting government of the ability to label them a terrorist organization or a security threat. This makes it legally safe for foreign nations to host and interact with them. Step 3. Achieving international recognition. The GIE actively lobbies foreign governments and international bodies, like the UN. Once a foreign state formally recognizes the GIE as the true de jure rightful legal government of that territory, the legal status of the imprisoned leader undergoes an immediate radical transformation. 2. The legal mechanisms, why the leader had to be released. Once international recognition is achieved by the government in exile, the arresting state loses its absolute legal authority over the prisoner. Legal teams use several specific articles of international law to force the leader's release. A. The Montevideo Convention, 1933, Article 3. Under the declarative theory of statehood outlined in Article 3 of the Montevideo Convention, a state's political existence is independent of recognition by other states. The moment the GIE demonstrates, it satisfies the core criteria of statehood: a permanent population, a defined territory, and a government capable of international relations, and issues its redeclaration, it asserts its sovereignty.
A government that is capable of international relations, not congressmen that is capable, not lobby. You see all these our people with their ignorance, with the criminal mind that they use an excuse of ignorance to be destroyed, try to destroy the movement. Good they can never do, because we have got to the final, I call it end point, through USD declared. You see that the law is there for us. You see why Biafra, they said, our case is a peculiar, our case is different from others. It's different because we are proving ignorance of the law since over all these years. After the Biafran War from 1970, check from that time till November 28, all we are doing is illegality and ignorance of the law. That is why our case is peculiar. That is our case is like it's different. And each for us one fee you forget about that. That is why, because we are wallowing on ignorance of the law. Protest is ignorance of the law. You don't know? Let me tell you, for you to protest and government in exile, need to said he come to this movement to get Biafra within 5 years. The maximum limit of everything is supposed to be for you to transition. The protest maximum should be done for 3 years. And the IPOB has done protests with 1 million members for 14 years. Nothing. That's why I said IPOB is liability to Biafran people. That name has blood. That's why whenever I see that name, I get angry. You see that name IPOB? Now I know that this is a way of ignorance of the law, that we are under illegalities over all this. Why? Honestly, I said, why did you have such a people? But my happiness comes when I remember that Robert Obi come and put us on a legal path through government in exile. The only legal path in this movement is a government in exile that have that word in bracket, issue a peaceful redeclaration of a lost country, or the one that issue a declaration of a new nation. Without that, you and the IPOB organization is under the same category in the eyes of the international law of the UN Charter, Geneva Convention, Montevideo Convention, Vienna Convention. And in all this law has a backup. If you want to talk about recognition, you go to Vienna Convention of 1961, starting from the Article 1 down to last article, is trying to educate us on how we achieve recognition. Even they will write you the petition you need to send that you have declared, the letters, they introduce everything there. And what they introduce is what USB is doing. Now, we want to talk about the backup law of government in exile. You go to Geneva Convention. This Geneva Convention also govern government in exile, govern a military of a newly declared country via government in exile. Now, we want to talk about the standard or the legal impact, moreover, on that for you to UN to know that you exist. You must apply the continuity and the existing protocol 1 that start working from 2001 as in a modern day world. These are the things you need to imply. We talk about Montevideo Convention. He now tell you about it and why government in exile is the only legitimate government in exile you have, the only that is legitimate under the international law. Everything. When you enter school, there is a law that governs the school. You can't pass out of that school without obeying those laws, without following the template of that school. If you are a graduate today, if you are a barrister, if whatever you may be today, you follow the template. In abroad, way before you travel, you follow the existing protocol of submitting your passport, your data to the embassy or to your agent. Then he will go to the process legal way. If you go without the process legal way, once you go to the embassy from there, deport to back because you come under illegality. You see why Biafra has been delayed, because we are acting on ignorance, and the world is laughing at us. Allow us to be swollen on ignorance, because a black man, they hide it on the paper. We cannot go and read. Can you read over 8 pages, even over 4 pages without having a break? That is our problem. But I want you to know that Master Simon Ekpa and our DPM have solved this problem for us by introducing a government in exile that issue a peaceful declaration that in step 3, where we are now, is to achieve recognition to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu or Simon Ekpa Njoku. And that is what DPM said, that this government is the one to release them. Look at that word here. It's not just her word. It is a word that is legal. The word is what? Legal.
For an independence. The leverage. With international recognition from external allies, the GIE successfully frames the arresting state not as a legitimate local authority exercising domestic law, but as an illegal occupying power holding a foreign official. B. The UN Charter, Article 1.2 and Article 55. These articles enshrine the fundamental international principle of the equal rights and self-determination of peoples. By issuing a peaceful re-declaration, the GIE aligns itself perfectly with the UN Charter. International...
I hope I know I just mentioned it right now. For you to align on the recognition or existing law that controls you the right on the legal side, that is the program of tomorrow. I'm just trying to give you expo what we're going to analyze tomorrow before the fundraising. So you will go to fundraising with your full mind to support your government. Now that we're on the legal, they said, under a self-determination of people, by issue a peaceful declaration, the GIE align itself on a perfectly with the UN Charter. It's not about how you feel. It's not about what you want. Case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is, case of Simon Ekpa is under international level. It's not about Bryce Nocom, it's not about Shiomoko. All these things is people are trying to make themselves relevant. Why they are no longer relevant? That is our people. Like I said, you see, I asked Mom Ojugo a question. I asked her, all these union charter, did they teach them in school? No. All this Geneva Convention? No. This is a separate school when you want to have a nation. But school in this school, that is why he can quickly transition us into a government in exile, the only legal aspect. That is why he removes us from the world, from illegality and the ignorance of the law. That is not an excuse. These are pure reality. These are what we have been missing. These are why there has been delayed. This is the reason why we all need to queue in line with the name of our country. Now we are on a legal side. Now legal doesn't make noise. Legal doesn't make mouth. Legal remains silent and destroy everything within around illegality.
Bodies can then formally view the arresting government's actions, specifically the life imprisonment of the leader, as a direct, unlawful violation of a charter-protected human right, applying immense diplomatic and economic pressure. See Geneva Conventions, 1949, and Additional Protocol 1, 1977, Article 1.4.
Are you hearing it? That's why you see, for me, analyzing the Arama is wasting time. Analyzing Shamaka Ajere is wasting time. Analyzing the go-to for them is wasting time. I want to tell you the truth. I want to tell you the truth. The only have to focus our strength now is trying to educate. I told you, I asked how many years did Namibia use in school to educate their people about UN Charter, Geneva Convention, Montevideo Convention, and UN Charter. These 4 constitutions take Namibia 12 years to teach their people, to get their mindset clearly. It took them, because it took them 30 years in exile before they can come back and take their territory. They open school in different countries in the world, and their people are coming. Online classes. What is the online class? When you come today, this lecturer will come and say, our people, I am going to teach you in a language of Namibia. We are going to discuss about the self-determination rights under government in exile, or maybe all the article and the chapters in a day. They are not teaching the mathematics. They are not teaching them English language. They are teaching them the right of self-determination, how Namibia will succeed out from South Africa, and why they need. And the only way is what they are doing right now. They pay their people money to do it. My money I want to pay myself by educating myself. I look at Bangladesh, how many years? They use only 8 months, rent their people. They stop some of them work, paying them money, said, we want you to be having a class in a day, 6 hours with our people. That is how they do, because they have to do, because of India borrow the money and sponsor them. Because India also did the same thing in their own time. After Mankind was arrested and put in prison because of local law of India, they schooled them people in England when they opened their own school. These are how every people get their own. This is how we must understand it. So the people of Biafra now is a time to us to acquire the knowledge, a different knowledge that the world had from us as a black man. That word is all this concern of the United Nations Charter, all this Montevideo Convention, all the Geneva Convention, all the Vienna Convention. These are the constitution that will make you to understand that it's only via US we declared is the only way we can be on a legal path, and restoration of Biafra is legit, is legal.
This is the most critical tool for a leader's physical release. Article 1.4 of Protocol 1 explicitly extends international armed conflict protections to situations where peoples are fighting against colonial domination, alien occupation, or racist regimes in the exercise of their right to self-determination. The real-world impact. Once the GIE is recognized internationally as fighting an alien or colonial occupation, the leader can no longer be legally processed under local criminal codes. International law elevates their status to a political prisoner or a captive head of state/government. Under international humanitarian law, continuing to hold a recognized foreign leader in a local felony prison becomes a severe violation, forcing the arresting government to negotiate a diplomatic release or face massive global sanctions and isolation. 3.
Sanctions is through US will declare that Nigeria will face sanction, because through the government in exile, South Africa faced sanction. Do you understand it clearly? Who is that person that is disturbing our brother? Honestly, I can't find that person question, because there is one thing with YouTube here. YouTube allows some message to go. Once they see a message that was against what I'm doing, they will keep the message. It will not appear on this particular place. So who is that person? Okay, he said, if IPOB is a problem with Biafra and the Kano, just sack old IPOB and form a new one. Why are you guys still associating with the man that wants him his own government? Okay, you are the one. This is the people we are talking about. The ignorance is always pushing them to write garbage. The ignorance of law, like what we are doing today. That is why it's good to do this, honestly. Him, where does he stand? Nowhere. Dominic, where do you stand? Where did Dominic stand? He cannot prove where he stands. He stands on ignorant of the law and the legality and writing garbage.
Outcome.
So when you hear the outcome of all these laws, look at the law. IPOB organization, whether new or old, is illegality. Whether new or old is being declared terrorist organization by the local law of Nigeria government. Ignorance is a disease. Oh, do you know that? Because of ignorance, that is why we are addressing Nadadi Orama, who is ignorant of the law, and we're acting like him. Because of ignorance, that is why we can be able to open YouTube and let's play video of Shamaka Ajay and analyze him. That is why we can analyze Nekashimezi. All these things are what ignorant of law is leading up, because when you know the law, you focus, you leave people behind. Allow them to be on their ignorance so they can be arrested under the ignorance of their own. So, are we into, like I said, we are not going to, this program is very long. The only reading alone is 10 minutes, so I cannot finish it today, like I said. But what is there is this: I will come back to the program tomorrow before the time of our fundraising. While we are waiting for that, then I will give you another audio voice. But before I play that audio voice, I will read out my question. My question is this: how can an organization that their leader fighting for freedom that was arrested help the government that arrest the leader sentence him to life imprisonment? How can transition implement in exile and issue peaceful declaration or redeclaration is a game changer? Now that Matankan is being arrested, what IPOB could have done is what Simon introduced, and they turned their back at him at that particular thing. What would have changed the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the game changer? Now, listen to the game changer. And listen why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is, case of Simon is quite different right now. Yeah, before I play, one of our founding father, or one of the forefathers is here, Odogwu Enugu, who signed in Finland that Biafra should be a country. Where you live does not. What matters is the legal right. What matters is what? The legal right. The legal right is not what they, because of you live in Hinton, Texas, it does not give the legal right. And you are there. Do you understand all this article of, please tell us to one article of law that support freedom fighter, freedom fighting, Dominic, please tell us to one. Now I approve to you that the law back Ngozi Beds up as COS, that is under her shadow to move the movement when the prime minister was arrested. That is law. And I quote to you in your phone, you are in uptown country, what you will do as I quote the law, you check it. That's why I come with evidence. When I push you, I show you where you will fall. The law is with you. You are in America. Where America fight for their freedom by issue declaration. They never fight their freedom with organization and remain there. They issue declaration 1776. That is America. You celebrated their democracy, their independence this week or last week. And when they are fighting, the people was against the movement. 500 that lives in America signed that they don't want America to be a country. They reject declaration of America. Why only 56 men that acted like what Odogwu Enugu did in Finland, 56 to win against 500 that said we don't want America to be a country? How can you be a country? You must issue declaration or redeclare. It's not by organization. It's not by protest. It's not by agitation. Odogwu, please have the mic. I know you are at work. Please have the mic before I play my last audio, before I close the program. If Odogwu is close to the mic, yes, I can see that.
Yes, I'm close, but good evening. What do you want me to say? I came to learn. You gave me mic. I just came in because I saw my WADA, Ivan Precious. That's why I came.
Okay.
He said that with the school we went, we cannot be talked about the law of Montevideo. So our school is useless now. So what do I need to know? I don't know anything. I have done my part by going to Finland. The only thing that I am congratulating all the people that contributed to sign the document of re-declaration and came now to deny. Thank you very much. Continue to deny.
Yes,
They are giving us what we want. Everything else in the hand of the government and the hand of our CUS. They can't start again. You have reached fail.
He's at work. He's at work. Divine Precious, I tell you, they want to talk to Dogwenu. Please, if you are close to your mic, you can do that before I play the last audio.
ekelekwe m afọ m ọ dị ka ọ dị bizi ọ sị na ya gbagoteghị ya ga-eti chefuzie na ọ gbagote na steji na ọkụ ka onye ọ kọntributu mana one of those things because o gosiri na uche dị ya at least ịpụta bụ ka ọ gwakwa anyị na ya ka sokwe n'ihe a na-eme and in submission to USB. So daalụ my brother. I just want to come on here get that too.
Imeka, thank you so much. Thank you. We are moving forward, and USB is piloting us on a legal path. That is why you can see me when I'm this program. I'm laughing, smiling with happiness because now I am on the legal side. I'm no longer on illegality.
God bless you. In fact, indeed deliver go na this. In fact, sometimes more too because I'm not on much. Sometimes they will be on that, but like now price all these things are distraction. I am like now understanding it better because then I feel like somebody like a sister Olewuna no one continue now from mistake to another mistake. What I go now? Him and all recent post on our not bridge in charge of this stop it of this upcoming court and so that thing will be a distraction and then they are confused. She's confusing them more. Man, I like it in specify and what we pass around up one day or the Naka the Finland. You know, because some things I have a
lawyer and the come out, no lawyer.
Confuse people.
That particular one now cannot utter a word on a court of Finland because he lacks judicial to talk in Finland court. Or quite play me a program here. Go see that the law of Finland is now no outside lawyer will come to defend anybody in their court.
Man, how can you work with it tomorrow? So that is not right. I'm just understanding it now. But other are confusing because I'm not able on this USB because often the Ipob na go but our PM now this thing is moving to a better place and as well this USB often only from also now this not fall back now go this USB they take kind forward. So on the now I've gotten anti confused. I'm not going away from till let the end come to it, and I'm open a truth. I was I'm a battalion, and I'm now this we are not control the world, but legal. If Hannah from legal, I say I care the law now guide what you are doing. If I saw name, which all these USB and bridge go from bridge to USB can they lead? So anything out of it, I'm just watching it because that goes to our leader. O make will no gain. Now but our PM goes on until finally or now pilot everything name mgbe allow iji wee bata nwere ozo na-ekwuzo ana ma ha season of square ndị autopilot ka na has na chiz even Akpabio ekwugwo na nọkwanyawa bụ governor ndị East that time. So if na hammer nke belo mana due to the level of ignorance may ha na confusing the gullible. But thank God na people like you osike anya abia gechelu and anytime on biala on enwe ihe na ade nyem insight and even confusion some things na dey agotachara ofuma you always clear it. So I thank you so much for what you are doing. Na banyeho na adike epempe but the little in akuziru na amụta a lot of things. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. The message is a new message, so it's going to take a time to people to understand what we are doing here. That is quite different from whatever we have been doing before. You know, government in exile, so this is my page. when I mention what I'm doing for here, it's a different thing. It's a different thing. That is where we are. So please, I want to play this. Our brother or Master Dominion, what you are asking is said, I live here in Hinton, Texas. We Igbo here, we Igbo here in US organize EBA and COS as our only leader. Okay. Very simple, and I hope you can figure out where I stand. I just ask a simple question. Okay, maybe if I misfired you because of ndi okwazu, ndi na-eme I be sorry for that. Sorry that now I understand. I will go back to your question. So then we will understand. The only thing, when I hear some things that is sounding somehow in my ear, I don't waste time to fire immediately because I don't like distraction for what I'm doing. So if the way I dress you did not please, I am sorry for that, Mazi, because your comment now is clear to me very well. Sorry for misfiring you or misunderstanding you. Thank you so much. Thank you. What we do is what can help me first to understand that what I'm standing with USB now is legal. That is what that I want it to be like that. So thank you so much for your understanding. We move. So I want to play the last audio for closing. What am I going to play? I want to play a game changer of any leader who was arrested and put in prison. Now, why organization can never do that? Imagine us, you ask about how can I get number to do my ID card, please. If you're in diaspora, contact me on this number. Now, there is this me to put the link on a comment section again. So if once the link, if you're in diaspora, chat me on this WhatsApp number, +97 33 60 51 337. I repeat, +97 33 60 51 337. Okay, you live in Germany. Yes, use this number, chat me, then I will send you the link. It's very simple. You are the one to do it by yourself. I have done my own capture. So I'm waiting to have my own ID card. The day I enter, I thought this is a child's play. I was talking to Biafrans. That day, I saw over 500 people one day for the capturing. That is why the government is not coming quickly because they are waiting to get a larger number to save the expenses. So that day, before I left, before he even reached me, I was getting tired. But because of when I mentioned my name and called the DPM, he said, okay, I told the DPM, I want to join program, please. She said, okay, let them do Biafra so you can go back to channel and do program. And I left. I saw Biafra, both young, old. I said, wow. So this thing is moving to this extent. The number is +97 33 60 51 337. That is also, if you're on my WhatsApp group, I will refresh the group this night by posting this link. After the link, I will post all this research so you can go to read. And you can also I put it short paragraph so you can copy and send to some people. Ask this person, read this place to understand how Biafra will be a country. That is all you need to do for me. That is all you can do for me. Please. Because our problem is that we don't read. We like to talk hearsay. He said this. He talked like this. It's supposed to be like this. All those things are the ignorance that we're talking about that is holding us to achieve Biafra as a country. That's why I said to these days that my platform is what I do here. I preach redemption of reminder of the things you have been forgotten. Those that the world hide from us is what I am preaching. I am bringing those documents that they said a black man cannot research, a black man cannot read. Do you know in the history of the world that the first black man and second black man that research is Maznakan and Simon Eber? Only two of them that have been picked in Africa that are those who research. Only two of them. So let's play the game changers. I want you to hear the game changers. So if you are still doubting USB, you're on your own.
Transitioning an organization into a government in exile, GIE, and issuing a formal redeclaration of sovereignty is a profound strategic pivot. When a leader is handed a life sentence, domestic legal options are effectively exhausted. Moving the struggle into the international, sovereign arena fundamentally alters the chessboard. Here is how this transition works, how it is executed, and why it changes the game for an imprisoned leader. 1. Why a government in exile is a game changer for the leader.
Are you hearing it?
When a leader is sentenced to life imprisonment by a state court, the government treats them as a domestic criminal or a convicted insurgent. A transition into a government in exile completely disrupts this narrative by elevating the leader's status. From criminal to head of state, by forming a GIE, the organization asserts that the leader is not a prisoner of a domestic court, but a political prisoner of war or a captive head of state/government. This complicates the arresting government's domestic propaganda. Invoking international law. Under international frameworks like the 1933 Montevideo Convention, a state exists independently of its recognition by other states, the declarative theory of statehood. By declaring a formal administrative structure, the movement frames the arresting government not as a legitimate authority, but as an occupying power. Immunity and status arguments. While it may not instantly open the prison doors, a formal statehood claim allows international legal teams to argue before global bodies, like the UN or regional human rights courts, that the trial lacked jurisdiction, shifting the debate from criminal law to international humanitarian law. 2. Step by step, transitioning into a government in exile. To be taken seriously on the international stage and avoid being viewed merely as an activist group, the organization must systematically transition into a functioning state apparatus. Step 1. Establish a host country, the exterior base. A government in exile cannot operate effectively from within the territory of the government that arrested the leader. The organization must secure a safe, stable operations base in a sympathetic foreign nation. This host country must be willing to tolerate, or quietly support, the establishment of the GIE's administrative offices. Step 2. Establish the continuity of authority. With the primary leader imprisoned, the organization must activate strict legal and administrative protocols to prevent internal collapse. The mandate, the GIE, must clearly articulate that its authority is directly derived from the original founders and legitimate registrants of the movement. The chain of command authority is typically delegated to a designated official, such as a chief of staff or prime minister, who serves as the sole legitimate administrative custodian responsible for issuing decrees, managing foreign relations, and speaking on behalf of the captive leader. Step 3. Draft an administrative constitution. The GIE must establish its institutional legitimacy by operating under a clear framework. This means moving away from loosely organized, militant, or activist terminology and adopting formal bureaucratic structures, ministries, a civil service framework, and decentralized digital governance models, such as secure, decentralized networks to communicate safely with the population back home. 3. Crafting the declaration or redeclaration. The issuance of a peaceful redeclaration of sovereignty is the diplomatic anchor of the entire strategy. It is not just a press release, it is a formal legal instrument. The original founding mandate, filled down pointing triangle. Sudden arrest and life sentence, filled down pointing triangle. Formal redeclaration of sovereignty, led by designated authority/chief of staff, filled down pointing triangle. Filled down pointing triangle. International diplomacy, administrative control. Lobbying foreign states, digital governance frameworks. Petitions to UN/ICJ, keeping domestic underground active. Shifting narrative to hostage, operating a government in exile. Key elements of a redeclaration. 1. The invalidation of the trial. The document formally rejects the jurisdiction of the arresting government's court, declaring the life sentence null and void under international law. 2. The assertion of sovereignty. It references historical treaties, original protection agreements, or past declarations to prove that the territory or people have an inherent right to self-determination. 3. The call for peaceful coexistence. A powerful redeclaration explicitly emphasizes a peaceful mandate. It frames the GIE as a responsible, stabilizing entity seeking diplomatic engagement, which makes it much easier for foreign governments to offer back-channel support without being seen as sponsoring terrorism or violent rebellion. 4. Operationalizing the GIE to help the imprisoned leader. Once the redeclaration is issued, the GIE uses its new state-like status to systematically pressure the arresting government. Sovereign diplomacy. The GIE sends official diplomatic envoys to foreign parliaments, the United Nations, and regional bodies. They lobby for the leader's release not as a matter of charity, but as a prerequisite for regional stability and international trade agreements. Economic and trade leverage. The GIE works to convince international allies to impose targeted sanctions or restrict aid to the arresting government, making the continued imprisonment of the leader an increasingly expensive financial and diplomatic burden. The long game negotiation. History shows that when a government realizes a life sentence failed to crush a movement, and instead birthed an organized, internationally active government in exile, the cost of holding the leader rises. Eventually, the arresting government may be forced to look for a face-saving, back-channel diplomatic exit, turning the life sentence into a negotiation pivot for the leader's ultimate release.
I hope you followed and you listened carefully. You see why they use that word, that a government in exile that issue a peaceful declaration is a game changer against the local law. Obatobi, that is why Alexander Stubb told us to go and fight for Biafra in a legal way. That legal is what is keeping Simon Ekpanjoko in Finland. That is why he's alive today. If not for this legal, what is that legal? They said that the document of a redeclaration of government by government in exile is a regional legal document that puts hosting country that arrested a leader in danger. You don't know what we have. If you really know what we have, honestly, I must tell you this, by now, you that is on the side talking trash on USB could have stopped doing that. And for those who claim that what they are doing in Finland, the Bryce Nokoma, Shomokoma, all this shenanigan group, like what they're not, look at what the law is all about. That's why I told that legal beats illegality. Bryce Nokoma and the white lawyer he called whatever he called to make Biafran people, because the Bryce Nokoma that Ogenkre used Congress lobby layers to make, so he used lawyer to make the Biafran people. Once they bring a white man in Abanabia, what of how Uganda people to layers? What happened? About to be a tipia a be a tipia a Bruce Femme. What of now what I go on what the government I pick out we're going to win straight. About to be in the life from any Biafra. The lawyer he needs is the one handling the case and he know how to go about it. And without going to already the law or the crime of terrorism has been dropped already. It's not by any human being. They are doing this because of they have understand, and the Finland has USB declared document. It's not about Eleya, it's not about Bryce Nokoma going to Chrome and Facebook to write that him that read the grievances is the one who will declare. When they ask you who declared Biafra, what is the quality of declaration and their criteria? I'm working at the number one thing is that person who opened and said, bring a flag of existing country down. In Finland, in the video, who give that order our DPM, who start the movement, who give a chance for to come and redeclare, to come and read grievances. It's not our DPM called for the so-called Bryce Nokoma to come. This is the garbage he was writing. I think that I was be able to use 14 days to rewrite the nonsense and forward the evidence to Chrome. They roster and said, thank you for giving us a right information with evidence. That is why when you go to Chrome today, you will see that Biafra had declared November 2024. It take me 14 days. The same thing on YouTube also. This is on Facebook. This is where Bryce Nokoma went. The same garbage is what he's writing to send to Finland, which was no whole ground. See, in everything, illegality first, legal win at last. And that is why they said in our language, he who laughed at last, laughed the best. Is it not true? That is, I want you to be connecting all these small things into our brain for us to know that all this illegality holds no ground, that there is a law. The ignorance is not an excuse in the eyes of the law. The years of ignorance ended November 29, 2024 for the Biafran people. So my people, my time is up. We're going to leave it here until we come back tomorrow before the fundraising to finish this section that we are doing. We are going to treat exactly. Now we have looked at Montevideo Convention and treat them with Geneva Convention. Now we are still coming back to the Protocol 1 of the Geneva Convention and the UN Charter, Article 2, bracket 4, Article 2, 53, 55, and all of them going down tomorrow. So you can see a legal backup. So we can be able to remove ourselves from ignorance. That is not an excuse of the law. There is a law that guides a new country. Mami Ojugo, thank you so much for being here. One other divine, we are rounding up. So finally, if your final thoughts, as we're shutting down, if you're close to your mic, or if you don't have, then we can move on.
My brother, and what the only thing that I'm advising all the Biafrans is that onye nwelo confusion or onye they confused should just come to you and you have the answer for anything, book a problem or you not confuse anyone. Thank you so much. And what any other thing to contribute?
Yes,
God
thank
bless.
you so much. Thank you so much. My people, there is no time to be confused. On the legal part, you can never be confused. But on illegality and ignorance, you'll be confused. The game changer, USB declared, changes everything about anything called Biafra movement. Put it on the legal side. Remember, in a country where you are, because of you have the paper of that country, that is why you are living on a legal life in that country. If the country can have a legal life to secure you, so you can live free, walk out and see police and pass, see immigration and pass, the same way there is a legal way to have Biafra as a country. It's not by our own. That's why I said you can't eat your cake and have it back. You can't write your exam and mark your exam. That is truth. You cannot examine yourself and pass yourself. Look at all these common things and you to understand where we are. This illegality, enough of it. The illegality in our brain must end. Stand on, stay the, our DPM always say this word, stay the cost. The cost is in a legal battle. It's not by church. They can use 5 days, 7 days, stock their trash. Once EPM on every Saturday, he destroy all of them with just a truth that is on the paper, not a truth on her mouth, not how she feel, not what she know, but what legal means. Legality can never win legal. Legality of IPOB, legality of ignorance that you are implementing this movement can only destroy you. And they said, even if someone advised you to be on the illegality, that the law will be implemented and that you must be arrested. That is my message for you for today. Think and rethink. What makes you a human being is the ability to reason and reason. What makes you a human being is the ability to think and rethink. Rethink about what you are doing. The earlier, the better for you. Stop bringing a curse or a bad reputation to the unborn children, to the surname. Remember that we are no longer on illegality. We are no longer on ignorance. We are on a legal that removes us from the shame of ignorance, where the world can answer us. And because of we on the legal side, that is why the plight of Bonnie, where they remove the plight of Biafra, put plight of Bonnie has turned back to plight of Biafra. Because of the legal, that is why you are seeing the map of USB. That is why you are seeing the map of Biafra in the world map, and it's come with the arrow pointing, this is incoming, waiting, recognition, United States of Biafra, not Brigi, not IPOB, not BGC, not Automobile Mechanical Government in Exile of Sania and Ogenkere. No. The 4 criteria from Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, before you can lead Biafran people, you must be a worthy man. You must be well read. You will be a politician, and you must speak eloquently. Tell me where the Ogenkere fall into. If I may ask you, where did your Ogenkere fall into? And he said that intellectuals cannot lead Biafran people. And a man and the law and the school of having Biafra as a country to be on a legal path is not being seen by any professor in school. It's we, the Biafran people, we are going to do it by ourselves. It's not about level of school, no. It's about the understanding the words, this issue, under self-determination, how you can have your country, and there is a legal backup. Chineke si na ya were amamihe wepụ amamihe ebe ndị ahụ feel na ha nwere uche nọ ma nye ha obi ajụrụ ajụ. Ọkwa ka enyere Bryce na Okoma obi ajụrụ ajụ. Chineke napụrụ ya amamihe ahụ were nye ndị ekwesịghị inye. Ọkwa sị na ike laziri na ụmụazị na nke ikpeazụ. Ọkwa sị na ụmụazụ chọọ ọganye nwere akụkọ na ụmụazị na-alụ ọganye na-ekpe ude. Chineke na ndị si na ndị ha bụ ndị veteran na America, gịnị ka ha na-emekwanụ? What are they doing? A lot of things are making me happy because now I know that I'm on the legal side. The first time after Biafran War. With the skies and the views of Biafran War, if you watch it, you see that even at that time, Ojukwu was on the legal path, but the enemies around him could not allow him. But today, this our present day, a woman nearly did a movement of a new nation arrest. He would Gen Z prohibit anyone to even attack her. That even if you abuse her, she turn back into any country to use the government of that country to sue you, that she will put you in prison. Be very careful what you are doing. I said what? Be very careful what you are doing. Thank you so much. I leave it here until we see again tomorrow for fundraising. We will finish this part 2 of this program tomorrow after our fundraising. Thank you so much. One love, my people. We move. Yes. Thank you.
Professor Imechigo?
Yes, I'm already up. Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
okay,
yes. I see that we are busy.
Thank
you. Thank you.
You see why I don't go to some programs. You guys always come when I work. So I'm sorry for that and I apologize.
No.
All the things you people are doing, we're supposed to be coming and showing considerity. But we don't make it, not that we don't come, not that we don't want to come. Time and chances. So I want to encourage you, you guys should keep it on. We are promoting wherever we are. Our spirit is there, though our body may not be there. Like my sister today, Divine Precious, she is always eager to come, but she can't. She can't. So thank you. Receive my vote of thanks and greet anybody that is still here. Maybe everybody have logged out. Extend my warm greetings to them and tell them to keep on keeping on. That I am here and we are on the legal side and the right side. Before I say we are got it right now. But you make me to understand yesterday that not only we are right, we are on the legal part of it. to get our sovereignty signed. So thank you very much. I still remain humble to Biafra and hold on my mandate. I could have said something, 2 or 3 things today to Biafrans, but I cannot mention everything. But I want to tell you, if, as they planned to declare Biafra on the 2nd, if they plan to declare Biafra on 2nd, why did the bridesmaid ask him that I said? That was the 2 questions that I asked him. Why did he put it in record if you are doing any program at all? Why did he read the grievances on the 29th? Yeah, the grievances on the 29th. Because they plan not to declare that Biafra. First of all, from Chioma Okoma, she was supposed to release the number of votes casted on that day of declaration. She seized it and told Dr. Ngozi Rebeze that she's not ready, that the document is not yet ready. Just a day to the convention, she only need to add 1 or 2 number. Everything had been concluded on the 28th. So she's supposed to have the right number on the 29th or on the 28th night. She refused. That's why I don't like to come to programs. There's so many things we know. We are witnesses. Not only we have evidence, or we are here. We are testimonies and we have evidences. So when we come to start to talk, it is not going to be easy for them. So ask the Bryce Skoma, why did he read the grievances on the 29th? Why? So let me just hold it there. I saw many things on my head. But one day I pray that God will give me the grace to talk, because you will never get them now. But I want to thank them. What they are doing now, I want to thank them. They are helping to do, or helping to catapult what we are doing at the high climax, because they must be there in some of all the countries, as you mentioned. Such people were there, and they have to recognize that state. So what they are doing, let them keep keeping on. Greet Biafrans for me. Tell them not to shiver. I am here.
Yeah, we are greeting you also. Both Divine Pressure, James Chigozie, all of them are greeting Odogwu Enugu. You are the founding father, as one of the grandfather of USB. So we are not playing. We can't play with you, because you made us have a country. You signed that you want Biafra to become a country. Thank you for that wonderful one. Biafrans, please permit me to end it here. Like I said, before the time of fundraising, we will come and finish this program quickly. Then we have other programs to do as we can. Remember, please, that on Sunday, Biafran time, 5 o'clock, is a prayer section with all Biafrans, with all independent media who agree to be on the independent media platform. Sunday, 5 o'clock, we are having prayer section where we put the link. Every Biafrans, you come, you pray, you go. Another person will come in, go out. So if we are going to handle it for maximum 3 hours, please try to remember that Sunday, Biafran 5 o'clock, is we have bring back words, prayer session for this government and for us as people of Biafra, because we are the sons and daughters of Chukwuka Abiyama. Thank you. Watch out for that program on Sunday with all independent media coming together for prayer session. That will be happen every second Saturday of every month. Every second Saturday of every second Sunday of every month. The independent media agree together that we are going to need to come together to pray for ourselves and our government and all our leaders and those in the Biafra land. So prepare yourself on that particular Sunday. After fundraising, Sunday is second Sunday of the month. There will be a prayer session for all Biafrans. please.